Let's talk about Lisa Simpson. She's the poster child for overachievement, the working embodiment of potential. And if you grew up as the smart kid in your class, she probably felt a little too much like you. But under all that brilliance, there's something else: anxiety, perfectionism, loneliness. Lisa Simpson isn't just a gifted child, she's a burned out gifted child. The kind who peaks in third grade and knows it, the kind who's praised for being mature while secretly begging for someone to just let her be eight. It's also about what happens when being smart stops being a gift and starts being a cage. From the very first episodes of The Simpsons, Lisa is shown to be different. She's smarter than her teachers, more emotionally aware than her parents, and more ambitious than anyone else in Springfield. And from the outside, that looks great. She's eight and quoting Simone de Beauvoir, I think that's how you pronounce it, playing jazz, writing essays on ethics, and winning science fairs. But here's the catch: being labeled as gifted doesn't come with freedom, it comes with pressure. Because once you're the smart one, you're not allowed to fail, you're not allowed to stop, you exist to perform, to be impressive, and to be a palatable genius on demand. Lisa isn't just a little girl, she's an investment. Everyone's expectations are riding on her tiny shoulders. There are moments where Lisa crumbles under the weight, episodes where she spirals, loses motivation, and questions her worth. And that's not a glitch in her character. That's the whole point. Because what The Simpsons figured out way ahead of the curve is this: gifted kids don't always grow up into thriving adults. Sometimes they just burn out early and spend the rest of their lives trying to live a version of themselves that only existed in someone else's dream. One of Lisa's defining traits is that she doesn't really get to be a kid. She tries, there are moments, she has crushes, plays with dolls, even joins the occasional schoolyard game, but it never lasts. Her intelligence isolates her. The other kids see her as a know-it-all, and the adults, they either patronize her or exploit her. She's stuck in this weird no man's land between childhood and adulthood. Too smart for her peers, but too young for the grown ups. So, what does she do? She doubles down. She builds her identity around achievement, around being the good one, the successful Simpson. And that's heartbreaking because every time Lisha pushes herself harder, every time she joins another club or solves another moral dilemma, you can feel the exhaustion creeping in. It's like she's running a race where the finish line keeps moving. And she's only in third grade. There's this episode where we get a flashback on how she got her saxophone. She's a little kid, already stressed, already being told she's destined for greatness, and her only outlet is music. That one small, quiet thing she gets to enjoy without judgment. And that's the thing about burnout. It doesn't start when you're 30 and hate your job. It starts when you're 8 and realize that being the smart one means you're never allowed to rest. Let's talk about gifted kid syndrome. It's not an official diagnosis, but if you've lived it, you know exactly what it means. It's the kid who aces every test without trying, the one who reads ahead in class, the one adults call mature for their age because they don't act like a child. But underneath the praise is a trap. These kids don't often learn how to fail, or ask for help, or handle things not going their way, because they've been conditioned to believe that their worth is in their intellect, and if they stop being exceptional, they stop being valuable. That's Lisa in every sense. She's afraid of being average, afraid of wasting her potential, afraid that no matter how hard she tries, she'll never get out of the mess that is Springfield. You see it when she tries to change her image just to make friends. You see it when she has a breakdown over a B+. You see it when she literally gives up her dream school because she knows her family can't afford it. She's not just driven, she's terrified. Terrified of being mediocre or disappearing into the background, of becoming Bart. Think about it. Lisa's greatest fear is that she'll grow up and be just another Springfield nobody. Despite all her smarts and her effort, that's not ambition, that's anxiety. Lisa is the golden child, but it's a lonely job. Her parents love her, sure, but they don't get her. Homer is Homer, and Marge, bless her, is supportive, but often out of her depth. Bart is chaos incarnate, and Maggie is silent, so Lisa ends up isolated, alone in a sea of people who don't speak her language. She tries to connect. She tries so hard, but half the time she ends up disappointed. Teachers aren't equipped to handle her. friends drift away, and when she finally meets someone on her level, someone like Alison Taylor, who's just as smart and talented, she doesn't celebrate it. She spirals because she's not used to competition. She's used to being the best. That's another side effect of the gifted label. You're so used to standing out that you don't know how to coexist. Every new person becomes a threat. Every shared spotlight feels like a theft. So Lisa stays lonely, surrounded by people who admire her only from a distance but don't know how to be close to her. If burnout had a sidekick, that would be perfectionism. And Lisa has a terminal case. She can't stand imperfection in herself or others. She sets impossible standards and then punishes herself for not meeting them. And when she does meet them, she moves the goalpost. That's not ambition, that's self sabotage with a good PR team. There's an episode where we see Lisa grown up. She's a successful politician, has a daughter, seems to have it all. But she's also cold and distant and emotionally stunted. Her daughter resents her. She's doing everything right, quote, and still somehow getting it all wrong. That's the dark side of perfectionism. You get the grades, the degrees, the career, but you lose yourself in the process. You forget how to connect, how to relax, and how to live. Lisa was never allowed to make mistakes, so she never learned how to recover from them. But what about the good parts, though? I mean, Lisa isn't just a tragedy, she's also incredibly strong. She holds on to her values even when they isolate her. She stands up to injustice. She tries to make the world better even when the world doesn't deserve it. She's hopeful in spite of everything, and that's what makes her different from, say, Bojack Horseman or Daria. She wants to believe, she wants to connect, and she keeps trying even when it hurts. And honestly, that's what makes her burnout so heartbreaking. She wants to be okay, but no one around her knows how to help her get there. Not her school, not her family, or society. Lisa Simpson is a portrait of what happens when we raise kids to be impressive instead of fulfilled, when we reward potential but don't nurture resilience. She's brilliant, yes, but she's also tired. That's the recurring fear with gifted kids, that this is as good as it gets, that you'll never be special again as you were when you were 10 and reading college level books, that adulthood will just be a slow decline into mediocrity. Lisa feels that. She feels that all the time. She tries to imagine a future where she's president or a scientist or a famous author, but even in those fantasies, you can see the panic and the desperation because she needs it to be true. She needs the future to make up for the pain of the present. And that's the lie we tell gifted kids, that the suffering now will pay off later, that being lonely, stressed, and anxious is just part of the deal, that if they can tough it out, everything will be worth it. But what if it's not? What if being gifted just means having a head start in a race no one asked you to run? She's proof that being smart isn't a shield, that early success doesn't guarantee happiness, that you can be extraordinary and still feel empty. She's one of the most honest portrayals of childhood burnout in modern media. And maybe that's the scariest part. But maybe there's another way to look at it. Please tell me your thoughts down below. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell me which part of this you relate to the most, and I will see you next time. Bye.